everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a full face of my old favorites. Recently I created a series of this just because I feel like it's a great reminder for all of us to dive into our personal collection, pull out those favorites that we used to truly love and play with them again. And I have a lot of great makeup in my collection, and sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the new products and you really love what you just bought, and so you're using it a lot, and all of the old favorites that you used to love kind of get pushed to the side. So I feel like doing these type of videos is a nice reminder to dive into your own collection, pull out your favorite makeup that you used to absolutely love and play with it again and fall back in love with it again. Let's go ahead and jump into a full face of my old favorites. So we're gonna first start with the Pat McGrath Sublime Foundation. Now, let me just say this. This foundation played tricks on me because the first time I tried it, I didn't love it. I couldn't get it to stay on my face. It would literally pull away and then like separate from my face, especially right here. I continued to play with it, continued to work with it, and realized you can't apply too much of this. If you apply too much, it will pull away from the skin. Once I found the right way to apply it, I fell in love with it and it became a favorite. So I have two shades. I have M15, which is my shade during the winter. So I want to kind of match my face with my body because my body's a little bit darker than my face, obviously. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on M18. It's very liquidy, so you gotta give it a good shake. And the squirter on this, you guys, is a mess. If anybody has this foundation, you've probably experienced this. But if you haven't used this for a while and it dries up, it will dry up around the squirt and it will squirt foundation and hit the wall. Like, it has gotten on my shirt before. So if I haven't used the foundation for a minute, I will take a makeup wipe or a paper towel or something and go around and kind of clean it up. And then I go right at the base. Like, I'll put it right here and go real slow, because if I just go in and push that button, oh my gosh, I'll have foundation everywhere. So you can see it's pretty liquidy. I mean, it's wanting to run down my hand pretty fast. I'm going to use the Pat McGrath brush. They actually sent this to me in PR, which was really nice. But, so this is a little bit darker than what I'm, what my face is, but I want to match my face with my neck. So the trick is to just put one small, even layer all over the face. You want to make sure that it's even and you don't have it too thick in areas. Now here, I'm going to put some concealer down and then go in. When I wear this foundation, if I need more coverage, I will use a concealer for the coverage and not the foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the concealer from Pat McGrath. Now, I have two shades. During the winter, when I wear shade 15, I normally wear the light medium 13 on my under my eyes. And then I wear the shade M15, which is the same shade as the foundation for my skin. But I don't have M18, so I'm just going to make 15 work. Now, I'm just going to wipe off the applicator and just apply this concealer where I need coverage. Yeah, the trick with this, I mean, this is so skin-like. The trick with this foundation is just not using a lot. The less you use, the better off you are. It kind of gives the shine to the skin. It gives a very healthy glow, but it sets down, so it's not tacky. Once it's on the skin, it is set and it's ready to rock and roll all day. And once I set it with powder, it doesn't budge all day. Okay, brows are on. Let's move into the palette. I have grabbed my Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette. This is in collaboration with my friend Mel Thompson, and I love this palette. It's so pigmented. Sydney Grace has some of the best eyeshadows out on the market, and I just love this. I love Mel, and I feel like this palette just speaks to who she is. And she done such a great job putting these colors together, and they're so different than what we have in our collection. And in my opinion, it's a masterpiece. And, Mel is one of my dear, dear friends. We've become very close. I want to create kind of a fun, like, pink rose gold type of look. This shade is beautiful. And these two shades right here are some of the prettiest rose golds I've ever used. So I'm excited to dive in and play with this palette. So I'm gonna grab my reference number 14 and I'm gonna grab the shade Tree Hopper, which is this one right here. Kind of using it as a base. This is a great shade to kind of start with, just to kind of start mapping it out. And that's why I'm using a bigger fluffy brush. I'm going to switch to the reference number 13, which is just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go into Flutterby, this beautiful like salmon color. Oh, it's so pretty. I am going to start this right here in the crease and just kind of build it up. I'm putting a lot of the product right in that crease and then I'll start blending it out. So this is Marvel and this is Meadowhawk. They look very similar, but they are a little different. Meadowhawk is a little bit darker and it's got a little bit more of a pitch to it, a little bit more of a shine to it. So I'm going to put on Meadowhawk. I'm going to grab my Smith 253 brush and I am going to go into the shade Meadowhawk right here. And I'm going to put this all over the lid. Oh, that shade is so pretty, right? It is one of the prettiest like rose gold shades I have. I love it so much. It's just beautiful. I'm going back into Flutterby and I am just kind of buffing out those edges. Now you could go in and deepen this up. You know, you could go in with this shade Death Moth. You could even go in with the shade Spider and kind of deepen up the outer corner and stuff. Because I kind of want this to be like a springy type of summer look, I'm going to leave it here and use a liner to kind of smudge it out and smoke it out on the outer corner. Sometimes for the summer, I like to just keep it just kind of light and not really adding a lot of depth with colors. So I am going to throw on some concealer before we move on to the lower lash line. Let's just continue on with the whole Pat McGrath concealer. I'm going to go ahead and use shade M15 on my under eyes. This is a pretty decent coverage concealer. You want to be careful not using a lot of it because it is a thicker consistency and it seems like the older it gets, the thicker it gets. So I've had this one for a while. I'm almost out of the shade, but seems like the longer it sits, it just gets really thick. So I like to wipe off the applicator and then just place the concealer where I need it. So I'm going to put some here because this is where I need the most coverage. And I'm just going to let that kind of set and kind of set up and then spread it. But the key is not using very much, which is the reason why I like to wipe off that applicator. You know, and then I use whatever's kind of left like down into the sponge to apply. So I'm just going to take a brush and just blend it out. This is the full coverage concealer brush from Bobbi Brown. I like to drag my concealer down across this area. So that's the reason why I like to wipe off the applicator and, you know, just use what's on the applicator to drag it down. I'm going to go over it with a sponge and kind of push it into the skin. Okay, concealer's done. Let's go back into the palette. I'm going to grab the reference number 26 brush and I'm going to grab the shade Tree Hopper and I'm going to bring that along the lower lash line right here. And then I'm going to go into Flutterby and go right over top of it. I'm going to grab the Victoria Beckham eyeliner. I recently reviewed a bunch of products from Victoria Beckham and discovered this eyeliner and I'm kind of obsessed with it. I'm going to use the shade Cocoa and I'm going to bring this up here on the upper lash line. It also has a little smudger on the tip of it. So I'm going to take and put a little bit of this right here at the base of the lashes. I'm going to take the little smudger thing on the other end and just kind of blend it out. Just to add a little bit of that definition. Okay, and then I'm going to take the Sonia G Flat Definer brush and I'm going to go into the shade Web. So I'm going to highlight the brow bone with that shade. Ooh, you got to be careful with that shade because it is sparkly. I'm also going to put some right here on the center of the lid just to kind of add a little bit of pop. And then I'm going to put some here on the inner corner. Eye makeup's done. Let's go ahead and move into the face. If you guys have been with me for a while, you will remember me using the contour sticks from KKW Beauty. It was kind of my first introduction into contour sticks. And then I bought the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. Really enjoyed that one. Contour sticks from KKW Beauty were my favorite. They were easy to use, easy to apply, easy, great formula. And I love it still. So I have the shade Dark. I'm gonna go ahead and put some right here just to add some definition. And then I'm going to take this Rephr brush. I don't know what the number is. I'll put it down here at the bottom of the screen because I can't remember. This is the prototype. And I'm just going to buff this out. Now, during the winter time, I will use like medium 2, I believe. But during the summer, I wear the shade Dark. And it works great. I mean, it really blends out easily. No fuss, no hassle. It's fantastic. Let's move into bronzer. So one of my absolute favorite bronzers is this one from Hourglass. So I first bought this in the small one and I used that one completely up. So I went ahead and bought the big one. This is the Radiant Bronze Light in the Ambient Lighting Bronzer from Hourglass. I'm going to take the Rephr number 5 brush. I'm just going to grab some of it, tap off, and just go right over top of that contour and kind of push it up into the hairline. It's a beautiful bronzer. It has been one of my favorites for a long time. I like that they allow you to buy the smaller size so that you can kind of try it out and see if you like the color or if you like the formula. And then if you do, you can buy the larger one. If I was just doing my makeup and I wasn't doing a full face of old favorites, I would go directly into this shade right here and I would put this on as blush. I really would. I wouldn't even mess with grabbing a blush. However, because this is kind of a full face of old favorites, I am going to grab one of my favorite drugstore products of all time. This is the Milani Baked Powder Blush in the shade Luminoso. This is a beautiful shade, you guys. One of the prettiest blushes I have in my collection, and the fact that it's the price that it is and it's Milani, oh, they have beautiful products. So I'm just going to take my blush brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of it and just tap it right here. Now this has a shine to it, so for those that, you know, have enlarged pores or whatever, I would kind of be careful with this because it does have a shine. But look how beautiful that blush is, you guys. It is so pretty. Oh, it's a pretty blush. I love it so much. I applied a lot because I am going to go over with powder and kind of buff everything together. So let's do that now. I'm going to grab my Hourglass Translucent Setting Powder. This is the Master Face Brush from Sonia G. And I'm just going to go over top of everything and kind of buff all of those edges out. So now I'm going to grab my Morphe setting spray and set my face. Now I've set that, I'm going to grab my Airbrush powder from Charlotte Tilbury. And I'm just gonna place this like right here in this area and soften this all up. For highlighter, I'm gonna grab this from Hourglass. This is one beautiful palette. This is the Metallic Strobe Lighting Palette. I haven't actually used this in a while. Hourglass has kind of been on my S list, so I haven't used this for a while, but in all fairness, this was one of my favorite highlighters that I reached for months solid straight after I found it, bought it, reviewed it. I love it. So what I like to do is take my highlighter brush and I like to just run my brush through all three of the shades. For me and my skin tone, all three of the shades mixed together just works beautifully. So I'm going to grab that and just kind of place it on the high points of the face. It's definitely metallic, so for those that don't love a strong highlight, then you won't love this because this is a very metallic highlighter. So next up, let's move on to the lips. I'm going to use the shade Spice from MAC, one of my favorites, and I'm just going to line my lips. And then I'm gonna grab this. I was obsessed. I still am, but when I first discovered these from Chanel, I was hooked. These are so long lasting. You don't get a lot, which stinks, but I love these. These are so beautiful. I have them in 3 shades. I have 2 of one shade because I wear the shade Timeless Beige the most, so I keep one in my purse. So what you do is you put it on, you let it dry, and then you go over top of it with the gloss. Now, once you put this on and let it dry, it does last quite a long time. And that's what I love the most about it. So these are the 3 shades that I have. This one is Timeless Beige, this one is Warm Beige, and this one is Chic Beige. So you can see that Chic is a little bit lighter of a pink. Timeless Beige is just that perfect color. It's just that perfect, easy, everyday lip color that pretty much matches every eyeshadow look, like just easy color. And this one is a little bit warmer, the Warm Beige is, but these are really beautiful. For this look, I'm gonna put on the shade Warm Beige. I usually get it about a minute to completely dry and set on the lip. And then I'm gonna take the gloss that's on the other side and I will put it on. So putting the gloss over top kind of allows the shine to come back. And then throughout the day, all you have to do is just put on the shine. It's such a perfect lippy for this eyeshadow look, and I had to pull it back out. It's so pretty. So this is the final look, and everything I used today, I still really, really love. The foundation, like I said, applying a little bit of it, making sure that you're not applying too much, especially in the T-zone because it will pull away from the skin. The concealer, again, not applying a lot, but it gives you a nice full coverage. And I mean, you guys all know the Tiny Marvels palette. This eyeshadow look is so summery and so beautiful. I love this type of makeup during the summer. This is like my jam right here. So I love this. And the bronzer, the blush, the highlighter, everything, the lippy, the whole 9 yards. I don't have anything negative to say. My opinion has not changed on any of the makeup that I used today. Still beautiful products. Love them. So I hope that this encourages you guys to dive into your own collection, pull out your old favorites, fall back in love with them, and to remember that what we have pretty great products in our collection, and it's always nice to just kind of dive back in and play with them. That's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.